One more ticket to championship weekend remains to be punched. We'll figure that out shortly. Georgetown, the champion in the Big East, against Maryland, a team that in the John Tillman era has been a Final Four fixture. This has been an incredible quarterfinal round. Earlier today, we saw Penn State rally from 6 goals down late in the third quarter. The Nittany Lions score the final 8 goals of the game and to take down two-time defending champion Notre Dame. Syracuse and Cornell won a couple of thrillers yesterday. And Ishraf, Quint Kesnick, this game now has quite a bit to live up to.
There's no way. I mean, this is like the dessert of the weekend. Is there any possible way that this could be a 60-minute game and give this huge crowd here on a great day? And wow, I mean, this has been a weekend to remember. I'm
going to steal one of your lines. Quint Kesnick likes to say, nobody remembers a quarterfinal loser. And the tale of the tape in this game tells the story of this round for both of these programs. It could not be more different.
John Tillman at Maryland is 10-1 in the quarterfinals. Okay, that's an incredible record. Georgetown is in the midst of an 0-for-10 quarterfinal streak. So who do you like? Do you like 10-1 or you like 0-10?
Well, we're going to find out. Dana Boyle is with Georgetown head coach Kevin Warren.
Coach Warren, this team has been knocking on the door at championship weekend. How do you knock it down?
We'll find out over the next 60 minutes here. We got to play our game. We got to play our tempo. Ground ball is going to be huge, and just the fundamentals. At the end of the year, you got to really stress the fundamentals, and that's what we're doing all week to see what happens.
Well, you're facing a Maryland team who executes quite well on the fundamentals. What's priority number 1 on the opening whistle?
Just tempo. The first 5 minutes are going to be huge. Understand what they're trying to do, how they're going to defend us, how we're going to how they're trying to attack us. So I think it's going to be a game of adjustments, and we'll take those first 5 minutes and see what happens.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much.
This Hoyas team is one of the hottest teams in the country. They have been blitzing opponents the last 5 games. Aiden Carroll has gone nuclear the last few times.
He has scored 14 goals in the last 2 games. He had a sock trick against Duke, 6 goals in a row in the second and third quarters, basically putting his team on their shoulders. Was after a 6-goal performance in the league championship game. He is a PLL draft pick that has gone through the charts.
Logan McNaney in cage for Maryland is one of the best big game goalies of all time. Simply put, when he has played a full season, Maryland has played on Memorial Day.
The diminutive lefty from Corning, New York, is now a 6th-year senior. He's got a championship ring. He has got ice in his veins, and the lefty, you just look at him. He just looks confident. He looks poised. He looks relaxed.
John Tillman is the master of May. I'm going to paraphrase what an opposing Division I head coach told me about John Tillman as you see Kevin Warren firing up his troops. He said, if you give that bleeping bleeper a week to prepare in May, you don't have a shot. That's the respect that coaches around the country have for John Tillman this time of the year. And I want to mention it was said with love.
I won't repeat that to Coach Tillman. Coach Tillman, you've got your team as a model of consistency in May. What do you attribute that to?
I'm really lucky. I got great coaches, great players, and all those guys work so incredibly hard. So it's really all those guys working together. It puts you in a position to have some success.
Your opponent this afternoon, Georgetown, buzzing on a 5-game win streak. How do you counter that energy?
The big thing is the first 5 minutes. We saw what they've done those last 5 games. They started very well. We got to make sure that we are ready to roll when the whistle blows.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
John Tillman at Maryland, 12-2 in round 1, 10-1 in the quarters, 8-2 in the semis. Only Memorial Day has been the hill that's been hard to overcome at times, 2-6 on Championship Monday.
Kevin Warren called Tillman meticulous and brilliant. They work together at Harvard and at the University of Maryland. He said he's a thoughtful thinker. And Tillman mentioned to Dana the first 5 minutes, look, Kevin Warren can get his team fired up. I mean, they come off the bus with a certain passion. And so they're going to bring, the Hoyas are going to bring the heat in the first 5 minutes. John Tillman knows that, and he's got to deal with that first wave.
These two coaches are close friends. They talk all the time. They text all the time. they share notes about their teams to each other, looking for feedback. Very few secrets between Georgetown and Maryland. We get a face-off violation right off the bat, and it's going to be Georgetown ball to begin quarterfinal number 4. What have the Hoyas done? Well, they knocked off Duke in round 1 after they blitzed through the Big East tournament. Offensively, this team had a game against Denver a little more than a month ago where they scored 3 goals. Since then, they're putting up 17, 18 a game.
That would rank number 1 in the country, ahead of Cornell, who came into yesterday's game averaging 16 goals per game. So what they've done in the small sample size, all the puzzle pieces have fit together. They are crushing teams in the last 5 games.
And it starts with 12 in blue, who took that shot. Aiden Carroll, the Big East Player of the Year. He's had the power of Babylon behind him the last few weeks. 8 goals, 2 assists in the Big East Championship. Followed that up with 6 goals in round 1 against Duke. There is Fulton Bayman, former Notre Dame attackman. Saw his old mates go down a little while ago. He's looking to play on and get to championship weekend once again. Bayman's pass goes awry, intended for Jack Ransom, and Maryland will try to clear to get on offense for the first time.
Maryland's Will Schaller draws the Aiden Carroll assignment. Jackson Canfield, 50, the right-hander, is covering Fulton Bayman. Those 2 assignments, got to cover 2 and 12 for Georgetown.
Let's see if the Terps attack quickly. Daniel Kelly gets Maryland on the board.
Terps prefer to operate in a slow tempo style, but they're given transition off of Georgetown's 10-man ride. You see Anderson Moore, the righty goalie out of Alabama, scuttering back to the net. But Maryland's underneath. They get underneath this Georgetown ride, and Kelly, high release to a low location. I love the way he snaps that ball, and she takes it right off his shoulder, and the wrist snap freezes the goaltender.
Jonah Carrier and Ross Prince, a couple of freshmen, taking the face-offs. This one won by the Terps. Trail check by Ransom. Maryland has to get it over midfield before that shot clock hits 60. And they do. It is Will Schaller, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. John Tillman continues to churn out high-impact long poles. In the cage for Georgetown, the Alabama slammer from Birmingham, Anderson Moore. He was the Big East Goalie of the Year. Matthew Keegan, Binghamton transfer, former attackman, now Zach Whittier, part of the first midfield for the Terps. Bryce Ford, another transfer behind the cage. He's from Fairfield. Now Whittier.
Maryland very comfortable to go deep into the shot clock. They love long possessions.
Eric Spanos, who had 6 goals in round 1, 7 in white. He's their top offensive threat. Ford with 5 to shoot. And a shot clock violation. Now you got to be careful. That might be a delay of game. They may have gotten away with one there, Q.
I think to the shooter's benefit, the shot was blocked and actually didn't go out of bounds. It actually stayed in the same general area. But John Tillman very comfortable yesterday telling me the key to us this year, we're willing to take shot clock violations. We're willing to go long into the shot clock, but our shot selection has to be great. We have to be efficient within those long possessions.
The strength of Maryland is the back end of the defense, and John Tillman has said, we're not going to sacrifice poor offense to hang our defense out to dry because it's so hard to score against this Maryland D. They want to play in the 6-on-6.
Exactly, and they're going to win the specialties. They're going to win the face-offs, the goaltending. They're not going to turn the ball over, and they're awesome in the clearing game. Very few self-inflicted wounds from Maryland.
Bayman will attack from the wing. The takeaway by Canfield. It's a pound of flesh style defense for Maryland. There comes Gorno over the midfield line. The Terps, they have been a championship weekend mainstay in the John Tillman era. 22nd consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. Longest streak by a mile. Georgetown happens to be second. It's their 7th trip in a row. Hard shot by Elijah Stovall.
Nice little action by the second midfield group. Stovall is emerging weekly, just improving.
Here's Urksa, top side. And Georgetown's going to have that back up closest to the ball. When and where it goes out of bounds is on a shot awarded possession.
Hoya's fans still on their feet. Good energy from Kevin Warren and their bench early in this game. There's John Tillman. That iPad has become his staple, and apparent that like every coach in every sport now is coaching. We're seeing more and more of those. John was ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and he's not playing Candy Crush either.
If you look at this Maryland team in East, the one thing I think if you're a Georgetown fan that gives you hope, Maryland lost to Michigan and Rutgers this year.
But when you look at their wins, they had by far the most impressive wins in the country and volume of impressive wins. Shot on the run.
So where's the truth? You know, how do you beat a Princeton? How do you beat a Syracuse and then turn around later and lose to Michigan and Rutgers? They had offensive issues in both of those games. The thought is maybe you can keep this team below 10.
Quinn, I think in a certain way that's a microcosm of the season. There are no super teams this year. Everybody has a flaw. Everybody is vulnerable somewhere. Bayman, the long dodge.
Maryland's all about man-to-man defense.
Now Jordan Ray, part of their top midfield, trying to bully against Stamos. It comes back to Bayman. He's got a short stick matchup. Kohler is Maryland's top shorty. Good pass, but into traffic, and Maryland's D closing quickly.
Schaller 27, the lefty, tremendous defender. He saw it. He saw the Bayman mismatch, and he went. He wasn't hesitant. He doubled it without hesitation. Yesterday, Jesse Bernhardt telling me it's Fulton Bayman 2 and Aiden Carroll 12 that they must stop. The rest of the guys, we'll take our chances with.
Carroll had 6 goals in the win against Duke. Bayman 4 and an assist.
Involved in 12 of the 16 goals.
Here comes Whittier against the short stick. Looking for Ford. All right, we're past the mark that both coaches talked about. We're past the almost getting close to the halfway point of this first quarter, so more than 5 minutes in, Quinn.
Yeah.
If you're on both sidelines, what's your takeaway here early on?
Well, I think if you're John Hogan, offensive coordinator for Georgetown, you're assessing the matchups, and Aiden Carroll's got to be more a part of your offensive flow right now. We haven't called his name enough. 12 in blue. He's being covered by Will Schaller. You've got to use him in the pick game to try to change some matchups.
Here is Carroll. His pass offline, went off the stick of his teammate Dudemain. And Maryland will have it. 7:47 to go, opening quarter, 1-0 game. The winner will take on Syracuse in the semis next week. Cornell and Penn State, Syracuse, and the winner of Maryland, Georgetown.
This is where Maryland is. If you're a high school coach or high school player in this game, watch Maryland clear the ball. They are just awesome. Their spacing, their communication, their passing. John Tillman spends a ton of time. They actually did some yesterday in practice. A little unusual to see that level of clearing and riding being done on a Friday.
They are second nationally behind VMI in clearing, 91%. Ford finding Urksa, defended by the talented freshman Plath. Plath, the big-time takeaway artist, and he got right into the body of Urksa. That's going to be Georgetown ball.
Maryland does not have an alpha on their offense. They do not have an Aiden Carroll. They do not have a Matt Trainer. They do not have a CJ Kirst. It's the power of the 6. It's the passing.
They did not get it across. Have to get it over midfield before that shot clock hits 60. 5 turnovers for Georgetown, just 2 shots.
You better be restart ready against the Terps.
They will pick their spots when they want to run.
They are so good off of restarts, especially in the middle of the field. They get the ball and they're ready to go. John Tillman drills that a ton in practice. Situational lacrosse, he's the best in the business at it.
Yeah, he treats that like basketball coaches treat, the inbounds play. That shot is deflected. Here's Spanos. Top point scorer. Now Keegan. Missed the mark by a good bit. Spanos looking to shake Plath. He stays with the matchup. Spanos, a big frame, missed the cage. Keegan moves it to Kelly. He usually likes to shoot from the other wing. And now Georgetown counters. Aiden Carroll, 2-time captain, lone captain on the team this year. First solo captain in the Kevin Warren era. Warren in his 13th season. He and John Tillman have history together. He was a Tillman assistant at both Maryland and Harvard. Bayman the trigger. He's defended by the freshman Lake. Swings it up top. Ransom missed the cage. Ransom 19 in blue is a golden eye. 2/3 of his shots.
Wow, Maryland ball.
On cage. Yeah.
With these staffs knowing each other so well, I was wondering if there's a little bit of I know, you know, I know counterintelligence, maybe throwing some new wrinkles in.
Ford, he's got a step down opportunity.
That's a problem. Georgetown, a sloppy sub. Anisha took them forever to get their 6 guys out there.
Maryland made its first shot. Kelly on the doorstep. 0 for 8 since. Here's Ford again. Plays it to Whittier. Swivels down the alley to goal line extended. Dumps it back to Kelly. Kelly's sweet spot is the right wing. Ford again. Plenty of time on the shot clock, and Maryland will milk the shot clock.
They turn away maybe shots. Like, yeah, if you don't really believe in your shot, they're not taking it.
Irksome. That one missed the cage. 9 straight misses now for the Terrapins. Jack Schultz out there with the first midfield. 5 in white. Freshman. Now Spanos. He holds the keys this year, defended by Georgetown's best. Ty Banks, 17 in blue. Whittier off the feed. His shot blocked.
Good closeout.
Trickling toward the end line. Shot clock at 4, at 3, at 2. And Maryland is okay with that.
And so is the Georgetown bench and Coach Kevin Warren right now, who knows how important those stops are. But time of possession is something that Maryland believes in. They believe that taking those body punches to your defense in a 4-quarter, 60-minute game are going to add up. To later on in the game, you're not as active on defense. It's going to open up some creases. You're going to get better looks. And it also puts pressure on your offense if you're Georgetown because you're a spectator.
Hoya's waiting for their troops. There's a flag on the field.
Maryland's got too many on defense.
Yep, they're offsides. They've got 7. Bayman defended by Lake.
Lake's going to be a star. Freshman defender.
Bayman dancing. There's the double. And now the call. Kevin Warren is about as animated as they get. Where's his personality on the sideline?
He's got that voice, too. We can probably hear him up here on the 6th floor.
We could. And we're on the opposite side on the 6th floor.
Well, the wind's blowing in that direction. It's like a walrus.
Extra man opportunity here for Georgetown. They have not been good this season with the man up. Carroll probing.
Maryland pressing out.
Carroll feeds the wing. Shot from the outside.
That's the look. Georgetown's gotten 2 10-yard shots in this game, and both have gone wide.
Not a lot of shots on Cage early. Turnover.
It's not the look.
Larkin.
Now you got problems.
Here comes Stamos. As a trailer. Outside hammer is good. Jordy Holmes. May is about unsung heroes, and Maryland makes it 2-0 on the goal by Holmes.
Senior man down specialist. This is what you dream of when you're a role player. You're in the NCAA tournament game. Maryland's man down defense was outstanding. The feed to the crease, takeaway created, you run the field. And John Tillman told us yesterday, we need to pick our spots and run in transition. It's Holmes.
The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes. The NCAA programs deliver $4 billion in scholarships every year. Those D1 scholarships are now guaranteed. Health and well-being services are mandatory. Student athletes get tutoring as well as financial literacy coaching because almost everyone is going pro in something other than sports. The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes.
A large touchscreen keeps everyone happy. The Subaru Crosstrek. Dog tested, dog approved.
So what are you working on?
Something for the Garcias. Right there's great.
Love you, honey.
Thanks, Mom.
We've got 24 hours to get all of this under control.
Then you're gonna need these to Dad.
Oh, we can deliver that.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow. Get delivery at the speed you need only at the Home Depot.
I'll show you the ropes. Kids, show you the ropes.
Boom, baby.
Same barber, apparently.
These two, though, they text each other all the time. They call each other all the time. When we spoke to John Tillman on our Zoom, Kevin Warren joined early. Our producer, Adam Coppinger, decided to let Kevin Warren enter the chat.
Hey, you're Coach Tillman. How are you?
Patrick wants to know if he can stay over at my house for Saturday night. Good luck.
I don't know why you haven't had invited everybody on this call over to your house to tailgate before the games. It's messed up, man.
They don't respect you. You don't respect the Terps.
I respect the Terps. You, not so much. You know.
See, this is every week.
Every week. It's every day.
That's true. Pretty much every day.
You guys were able to get a snapshot into their relationship, and you see a different side of two coaches who are very good friends as well. And Kevin Warren was joking with us that, John Tillman will send Maryland apparel to his kids, and he says, my kids walk around the house wearing Maryland stuff. They did it this week.
His daughter, Campbell, was wearing a Maryland t-shirt in a picture that Kevin sent to Tills. Tills sent me the picture as well. He's Patrick and Campbell wearing Maryland gear. I mean, come on.
But it gives you an idea how close these two men are. Very good friends. Worked together at Harvard, worked together at Maryland for a couple of years.
Kevin called John a machine, a Hall of Fame coach, a thoughtful thinker that's able to look at situations from multiple viewpoints.
Now, Warren said he plays chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Meticulous. He said he knows what deodorant guys use. But the stories about how John Tillman preps, especially this time of year, legendary. It's what has made him the best coach in the game. Bayman wraps, saved by McNaney.
Nice stop, kick save by the lefty, his second of the game. Maryland plays a man-to-man defense, okay? They're really good on the ball. Watch their posture, the way they sit down, the way they present their stick. Their double teams are smart. They don't take over-aggressive double teams to create offense, and then their recovery patterns are buttoned up. Jesse Bernhardt, who's a star in the coaching industry, young defensive coordinator, has done a remarkable work with this group.
Well, Georgetown has to solve the riddle that is McNaney in net. 11-2 in the NCAA tournament. Both losses came in the national championship. One to Notre Dame last year, one to Virginia in 2021. This is his 70th start overall. Bayman streaking inside, and he was in the crease. Quinn, think about that. You were a guy who started for 3.5 years, basically.
Yeah.
Hopkins was in the tournament all the time. How many games
40,
do you think you started?
I think 40.
So McNaney, who's had injuries in a redshirt COVID year, 70 career games that he started.
Wilson's on top, can't take her spot. She's a real one through, always does what she'll do.
Hey. I'll show you the ropes, kids, show you the ropes.
Boom, baby.
Get it. There it is.
All the parts you need at prices you love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
Importance, but you're scoreless as we enter the second quarter. How do you get the party started on offense?
I just think we got to do a better job in our picking game. I think we need to get a little more leverage. Maybe some different dodging angles will help us get some leverage inside and loosen them up a little bit. They seem to be going to number 12 a little bit, so we get him going and move the ball. We hopefully get some looks inside or through and see if we can finish him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
John Tillman's Maryland teams this season have now held an opponent scoreless for a 15-minute stretch 15 times.
his comment, they're going to number 12 means they're doubling Aiden Carroll pretty quickly. They're supporting that matchup. So Carroll's going to have to be a little more of a decoy. Carroll's going to have to be more of the pick setter for others as they carry the ball. They should put Carroll in a hot position inside at times too to make his man be the double teamer. Aiden Carroll must impact this game if Georgetown's going to win.
Hoya's team averaging, again, close to 18 goals per game during this 5-game win streak. Forward defended by Seamus Foley. Now Whittier serpents around the crease. Decides to turn back. Maryland will play the shot clock. Forward on the invert. Dumps it back to Kelly. Spanos, quiet so far, does have an assist. Had 6 goals in round 1. Wing dodge. Anderson Moore steps up to take it away.
Good angle play by Anderson Moore. He's super bouncy. You look at Georgetown, their defense is constructed very similarly to the way Maryland's is. Okay, it's a man-to-man defense. Kevin Warren's group, known for their slide decisions. Okay, they make really good decisions when to double, when not to, and then behind it, the recovery patterns are excellent. We watched them in practice yesterday, working on that inside part of the game, the off-ball part of the game, the communication that's required.
Georgetown looking to get on the board. There's Joe Caesar.
Their ball movement against Duke last week, game we covered, Anish, was snappy.
Sublime. Fulton Bayman, the individual effort, and the Hoyas get on the board. He's like a joystick back there.
Now they celebrate on the bench with him. Grad transfer from Notre Dame, 5, count them folks, 5 ACL tears. Shows up. Kevin Warren told us he didn't really know what to expect, but all the reports were that this kid is a battler, he's a fighter. Well, he's pretty darn good too. And the second half of the season, he has gotten to the goal with a burst of speed. When he scores, he celebrates down on his knees, double fist pumps, and the entire bench mimics and echoes his celebration. True passion.
A young man from Atlanta, Georgia, Dana Boyle.
Speaking with him this week, he said at no point in the 5 ACL tear recovery did he think about giving up. He said he's been so accepted as part of this Georgetown team, so appreciative of his time at Notre Dame. We watched him at practice yesterday, Quinn. It took him about 40 minutes to warm up before he could participate in practice. He had the cones out. He was doing his agility work. He said, I'm older now. It takes me a little bit to warm up just for practice.
He actually skipped the competitive, the fun part of practice when they do a little 3-on-3 small-sided scrimmage. But I'll tell you one thing, Georgetown was leaving the field. Notre Dame was entering the field. All the Fighting Irish players, Faye Fulton, Bayman, Fulton. He was loved in South Bend, and that's one of the reasons why Kevin Warren took a shot on him. He didn't have the points, he didn't have the resume, he didn't have the tape, but he had the respect of that staff and those players.
Yeah, he played behind the Kavanaugh brothers on attack, and at Georgetown he's gotten an opportunity to shine. 24 in blue, Joe Krogan gives it up. Getting inside, McNaney foils him on the doorstep.
I like the wing dodge. I think
ball push.
I think you're better off attacking Maryland. You got to attack their shorties, okay? Ohio State beat Maryland in the Big Ten championship by isolating against the Maryland short stick defensive midfielders. They put them out on an island. They put their spacing so that they could beat their man, and the double teams were long. They could see it coming or get unassisted shots off themselves. That's the way to beat this Maryland defense. You got to pick on the shorties.
Game 1, Western Conference Finals, Tuesday. Nuggets and Thunder. Winner will host the 6th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Wow, great save by Moore. The splits. You put a rebound in front in the NCAA tournament. These guys are vultures, man. They're all over that.
Urksa against Plath. Urksa's been a catalyst. They love him off the restart. Feed to the crease. Urksa cashes in. Aiden Aiken with the assist. 3-1 Terps.
Kevin Warren could see that before it happened. I could hear him screaming. Maryland They do a couple things well on offense. They'll hit you with the drift when they go down an alley and a guy will fade, kind of, he'll drift from X. This is the other thing they do well. A wing dodge, you rotate, they're pressing out at X behind the net, and this leaves kind of a channel down to the backside, and Urksa puts himself right on top of the crease. That's too easy. Georgetown's defensive spacing, they got to get down the backside.
Prince and Shea Keithler battling. George Acton vacuums the grounder. Acton, an Annapolis native. 34 in blue running to the sideline. Now the Hoyas will attack on offense. Cade Goldberg, senior out of Delray Beach, Florida. He's an initiator. Good assist man.
I thought Patrick Krogan, 24 in blue, played really well in the Duke win.
Goldberg picked up by Schaller, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Bayman from up top. He's got the lone goal for the Hoyas.
Bayman's got a matchup.
He's got Jordy Holmes using the pick that time. Now Lucas Dudemain inserted into the lineup late in the season, coming off an injury. He's been a spark plug. Georgetown not able to find many creases, not able to win many matchups right now in the 6-on-6. That's 8 turnovers.
Dudemain, a lefty. This is an offense that severely lacks left-handed players. Beginning of the season, we had one of their televised games against Johns Hopkins. It was like the field had only righties. They didn't have any serviceable lefties at that time. Field balance is critical. Maryland's a team with a surplus of lefties. At times, they'll play 4 lefties on this starting unit.
Keegan against James Carroll. James is the younger brother of Aiden Carroll. Ford looking to turbine against Charlie McGurn. Hard shot from the outside, easy save for Moore.
Maryland hasn't really been in the riding business this year. They would rather get their offensive personnel off the field. So they run to the substitution box and retreat in defensively. Their attack drops heels to the midfield line. John Tillman flat out told us, I don't really care about riding with this group. Our attack's not built to ride. We have so many ex-attackmen playing midfield. They're not built to ride either. We've got to get those guys off the field.
They don't want to put their defense in a bad spot. The Hoyas have only put 3 of their 8 shots on goal. They've turned it over 8 times. Carroll waiting for the cavalry. Hoyas using the sub game. It comes back to Carroll. Left hand free. Carroll fires, and there he is. And that fires up the Georgetown bench.
Yesterday in practice, Kevin Warren and Georgetown rehearsed the sub game. This is a portion of your offense that needs to be addressed. And you'll see the player coming in from the substitution box puts Maryland's defense in a situation where they're down a man. They've got to rotate. Ball goes to Carroll. He dusts that long approach. Rolls back to his left hand, and he's dead center. And that's where you got to be against Logan McNaney. Carroll in the sub game pays off for Georgetown.
Hoyas will win another faceoff. Acton's been good off the ground. Again, homecoming for him. 5-2 edge at the X for Georgetown. Looking to tie it up.
George Acton, Jr., she said St. Mary's. Charlie McGurn, 37, another LSM from Massachusetts. And Ty Banks, 17, their close defender. Great ground ball players. think Georgetown settled in now. I like their offense as they throw the ball out of bounds. They just look like the ball movement's better, the people movement's better.
Bayman snakes around the cage, feeds goal line extended. Carroll with a high bouncer. McNaney got a piece.
Really?
It'll reset
Wow.
the shot clock to 60. Now a wing dodge. Ransom up top. He's normally an inside finisher. 49 in blue, Kevin Miller with the assist. And Georgetown has tied this game at 3. The offense finding its legs as the Hoyas hope to snap that quarter-final hex.
Press the middle. Defense has to respect it. The throwback.
So what are you working on?
Something for the Garcias. Right there's great.
Love you, honey.
Thanks, Mom.
We've got 24 hours to get all of this under control.
Then you're gonna need these today.
Oh, we can deliver that.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow. Get delivery at the speed you need only at the Home Depot.
Versace Eros Energy for men.
A large touchscreen keeps everyone happy. The Subaru Crosstrek. Dog tested, dog approved.
Today, I choose us how to screen us for colon cancer. Here, on my land, not theirs. Give me Cologuard or give me...
We can do that for you.
What, no battle?
Nope. Just a prescription.
Victory!
Cologuard is an effective and non-invasive colon cancer screen.
What a singular performance can do in this tournament. Carroll for Georgetown did it last week. Trainer did it earlier today. Carroll now starting to heat up for the Hoyas. He scored the last 2.
His first one was on the sub game. The last one, Will Schaller, 27 in white. Left-handed defender. That was just a lousy double team. He steps up field off the best player on the field in a backup responsibility, and Carroll finds the vacancy in that defense. This is a young man who was a late recruit. Okay, Kevin Warren told us he was walking by a field at an event, and he saw some kid do a split dodge. They end up signing Carroll. He comes to Georgetown. He's a scout team player. 2 years later, he's a part-time starter. 14 points 2 years ago, correct? 14 points. And last year, kind of blew up, and this year now he's a bona fide Premier Lacrosse League draft selection. Well, incredible story. Number 7 pick, the Maryland Whipsnakes. Guy who started basically at the bottom of the barrel.
And what Kevin Warren said about Aiden Carroll, as a captain, he can relate to every single guy on the team. The guy who's been hurt, the guy who doesn't play, the guy who's starting, the guy who's had to scrap for his spot, and the guy who's a star. He got 51 of the team's 52 votes for captain. You know who the only one who didn't vote for Aiden Carroll? Aiden Carroll.
Nice defense there by Georgetown. Again, these teams very much are carbon copies of each other.
Whittier spins it back, bounce pass.
Georgetown's got to feel comfortable right now, Anish, with the matchups. There's nobody on Maryland's offense that's going to blow by you and take over a game. They don't have that type of star. It's team offense. And against team offense, well, Kevin Warren can scheme it up. He can guard team offense.
Ranizin on the clear for Georgetown. Now they wait for the offensive personnel.
So Maryland's going to have to find ways to score outside the 6-on-6. Again, their two goals. Kelly off a ride. Gordy Holmes transition off the man down. 6-on-6, they only got one goal.
Bateman sizes up the Maryland D. He had 8 points in a Big East tournament win against Marquette.
Maryland polling Krogan 24 in blue. It's a smart decision. I thought he had a big impact last week against Duke.
Had a hat trick. Caesar bouncing off a couple of defenders, finding Dudemain, who scores. The Hoyas have their first lead of this quarterfinal round. Lucas Dudemain, junior, lefty out of Canada. 9 points in the last 5 games after missing most of the season with an injury.
Double team drawn on the wing. Turn away and then look inside. Caesar, the party starter. The release from the lefty from Toronto. Just an amazing transformation. Dudemain and the rest of this offense, they were dreadful late in the season. Lost at Denver 7-3 on April 12th. And as Anish said earlier, since then they're averaging
almost 18 a game.
17.8 goals a game.
In the last 3 games, Quint, they've shot 42%. That's the Big East tournament in round 1. Today's slow start. 0 for 6 in the opening quarter. 4 for 6 now in the second quarter. Keegan on the invert, guarded by James Carroll. Stovall gives it up to Urksa. Maryland attacks from the wing. Terps will be patient. Ford, the Fairfield transfer, he's two-handed.
That voice you hear is Kevin Warren, head coach, Georgetown.
Coming through Dana's mic, Urksa, Spanos, tie game.
That's the passing, the power passing. A lot of fans here in the red and gold. Wing, double team drawn. Urksa does a good job of turning himself and then looking inside, knowing that the recovery is vulnerable on the inside. Little tic-tac-toe. I'll tell you one thing in the postseason we've seen, Anish, is wonderful interior passing. It's back-to-back weekends. We've seen great interior passing.
The animated Kevin Warren after the last Maryland goal. Dana, though, you've got a front row seat to maybe the best theater in the building. Somebody on the Georgetown social media team should just have a camera on Kevin Warren the whole game and then create a mishmash, a best of. Here comes Stovall against Ranizin. Terps looking to retake the lead. Stovall with a rocket.
Yeah, he's scary. Big kid, non-traditional area, from Florida. Played at IMG, and he's getting better every time we see him.
Winner of this game will play Syracuse in the semis next week. One matchup is set. That's Cornell and Penn State. Penn State earlier today knocked off two-time defending champion Notre Dame. That pass intercepted. Here comes McGurran. Georgetown, given how good Maryland is defensively in the 6-on-6, should you be looking for opportunities to hit Maryland in transition?
Yes, their Fogo Ross Prince has been good at pinching and popping and winning some of those draws out the front side. But Georgetown has not been a terrific team breaking out and scoring in transition directly off of stops this year.
Anae Schroff, Quint Kesnick, Dana Boyle, our trusty statistician Russ DeLynn.
If you've watched all the quarterfinal games this weekend, I recommend calling your cardiologist tonight when this baby's over.
Russ DeLynn has. He did the 2 games in Hofstra yesterday and then drove me down from New York to Annapolis.
Russ drove?
Yeah, he drove.
Why do I always chauffeur Russ and he actually drives you?
I met him at Hofstra. Once the games were over,
I mean, what a
he
round,
waited
huh?
for me. He drove down. He's the ultimate teammate.
Like yesterday's games were frantically incredible. High scoring.
He's going to send Disney a big bill when he sees his wrist specialist.
And then if you didn't see the game earlier, you wouldn't believe it. Notre Dame's up 8-3 and then 12-6. Notre Dame's up 12-6 with 2 rings. And somehow Penn State comes back.
Timeout Maryland. Now that was an incredible comeback. It was 12-6 Notre Dame with about 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Penn State scores the final 8 goals of the game. Matt Traynor, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, finished with 6, put the team on his back at times. And Quint, when you kind of look back at how it unfolded, there was nothing fluky about it. Penn State took it to the 2-time defending champions. They were just better over the last 20-plus minutes of the game.
They were in every facet. They were winning face-offs. A lot of credit goes to Gills, their Fogo. Jack Frassian, who had really struggled late in the season, was solid. But the zone defense, I think the zone defense was the thing that really caused Notre Dame to be uncomfortable offensively. Notre Dame's scheme didn't have answers. Their personnel, not really built to beat the zone from the perimeter. It was a startling, a shocking finish to that game.
The NCAA Men's Lacrosse National Championship game a week from tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. For more info, go to NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
Cool thing about championship weekend this year, the women's tournament is going to be there as well. Friday games, Sunday national championship game.
And the Iron Horse next weekend is going to be Dana Boyle, who is going to be working the semifinals and the championship for both the men and the women.
If I can only be so lucky, Anish, to get a driver like you did. But no, it's going to be exciting. I mean, North Carolina for the women, the lone undefeated team on the women's side. They've got a trio of sisters who are just wreaking havoc over the nation. Must-watch television next week. Awesome for the sport, too, for everybody to be there on the same weekend. You can watch lacrosse Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday. That's awesome.
And by the way, Russ DeLynn just offered to drive you to Foxborough.
Oh, great. Thanks, Russ.
Russ will probably do all the games as well.
Here comes Whittier.
He'll set a hot dog record.
Ford with a high rocket. Penthouse Parm. Bryce Ford. 5-4 Terps.
You love the execution off a timeout. Textbook rip. This guy is two-handed. He prefers his left. Georgetown doubles the invert, and you get the one more pass. And that's what this Maryland offense is all about. You know, Spanos has got it inside position there. You're thinking one more pass, but he just lets it rip. Bryce Ford, the transfer from Fairfield. John Tillman did a wonderful job in the portal this year, bringing in Ford, Matthew Keegan, Jack Dowd, and Noah Armitage.
A lot of former attackmen, Quint, in there who Tillman has deployed as midfielders.
Ford and Keegan, both left-handers. A lot of experience, a lot of success. Not the biggest names, I don't think, in the portal, but if you really do your investigation, you realize what type of people they were and what type of players they were. And John Tillman is not going to let somebody come into his program. He's not inviting somebody to dinner that he hasn't fully vetted.
Midfield right now, Caesar, who's got the ball with Miller and Krogan. Final minute, opening half. Timeout, Kevin Warren. I think in the first game I mentioned the 2018 quarterfinal. I meant the 2019 quarterfinal. That was the year where Virginia beat Maryland on the controversial call where the ball hit off the pipe. It was ruled a goal when clearly it wasn't. Matt Moore scores the game winner in overtime. Virginia would go on to win a national championship.
It's John Tillman's only quarterfinal loss.
Right, so it comes with a little bit of an asterisk. You had a Penn State Loyola quarter that year. Was Pat Spencer's final game
in Hartford, Connecticut,
with the Loyola Greyhounds. It was a 21-14 game.
How many goals did he have? 9 goals or something that day?
Spencer had maybe 9 goals, and then there was a Duke Notre Dame thriller. Joe Robertson scored a bounce shot, game winner, almost a change-up bounce shot.
Oh, the soft, slow goal. Yeah, was that Penn Yale that year as well?
And then Penn Yale was
epic
wild,
game.
19, 18, something crazy.
A flukish lucky goal at the end of the game where like the player put the ball on his chest. Remember who scored that?
There was
for Yale. You said his
Jack
name?
Ty?
Yeah.
But this quarterfinal round, 2 one-goal thrillers yesterday. You go back to Cornell Richmond. Richmond had a 6-1 lead in the regular season against Cornell, led by 3 in the fourth quarter. Cornell came back to win that game. Richmond went toe-to-toe with Cornell, had the lead going into the fourth quarter, had the lead with about 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Cornell rallied back and won in a game where I thought we saw what made C.J. Kirst the best player in the nation. Quint didn't have his best shooting game. He had 10 ground balls
as an attackman and 3 caused turnovers. They're going to hold for the last shot of this first half.
And then you had Syracuse in a game that was supercharged, knocking off Princeton 19-18. That game felt, for most of the second half, like whoever has the ball last might end up winning. And then earlier today, Penn State coming back from 6 down in the second half to stun the 2-time defending champs. Chance here. Caesar missed the cage.
Nice little 2-man game. Kevin Warren wants timeout on the far side of the field. He's basically 10 yards onto the field.
And he finally gets it.
It's a good look by Georgetown. They do the wing 2-man game, pick and roll, concepts identical to basketball, okay? It's really become a staple of the pro game. The PLL offense is more matchup related, and college teams kind of run more generic schemes, but I think the wave of innovation from the pro league to the college game is saying, hey, let's be more matchup. Let's attack their weaknesses with our strengths.
Western Conference Final, Game 1 in the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers, Dallas Stars. A Wednesday night at Big D. Coverage begins with The Point at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific.
Potential record-setting crowd here in Annapolis, Maryland. This is a region of the country that is lacrosse, and more lacrosse. I would love to see a national championship game played in this stadium, let's say the week after Memorial Day weekend, and we would keep that weekend with the action that weekend with semifinals, but you'd give the final a week to marinate, to promote, and you can come back here for a one-game situation.
Yeah, both these schools not too far from Annapolis. I think the issue with having championship weekend in its current form here at Navy is you got Navy graduation next week, and that has always kind of been what has limited
Memorial Day weekend.
Day weekend, it's kind of a non-starter here in Annapolis. But to your point, if you move the championship game to that following weekend, Annapolis becomes an incredible venue for a national championship game and potentially a permanent venue for a national championship game as we get a timeout from Maryland.
John Tillman calls timeout. How's that?
So, they outlawed this in college football, right? You can't have the back-to-back timeouts.
both Jesse Bernhardt on the left of that shot is an Annapolis resident, as is John Tillman.
And John Tillman lives right next to the stadium.
Georgetown assistant David Shriver lives down the street from Jesse Bernhardt, Maryland assistant. Mike Phipps coached at Georgetown for 5 years. Now he's the offensive coordinator at Maryland.
A lot of cross-pollination.
No secrets whatsoever.
And while both head coaches are very close, they don't play in the regular season. They have not played in the regular season in the Tillman-Warren era at the respective schools, but they do scrimmage pretty much every year.
They scrimmage in January. They then kind of conference call over the scrimmage and discuss it. What did you see? What do I see? What do we think of this personnel and this scheme? How did you react to this? And they actually help each other. It's almost like the NFL practice model.
Maryland entered the quarterfinal round having defeated 5 of the other 7 quarterfinalists. Didn't play Georgetown. Hoyas in the final 15 seconds. Bayman to the left hand. McNaney the save with the shot clock winding down. Now Maryland trying to clear. They cough it up. A chance with 3, with 2. Caesar, and time expires. The first half comes to an end. Maryland with a 1-goal lead. Hoyas did not score in that first quarter. Found their offense in the second. How do you walk away from the first 30 minutes, Quint?
Kind of exactly what we thought. It would be a low-scoring, defensive-based game. Maryland has found a way to score off the ride and in transition. Georgetown's got one goal in the sub-game. And it's kind of what we expected.
Dana?
Coach Tillman, as advertised, low scoring, punch for punch. How would you assess your team's performance through 2 quarters?
A little up and down. We definitely made some mistakes there, and our kids are playing hard. I give them that. We just made a couple mistakes, and they're so good that if you make those mistakes, they'll make you pay for it. But I like the way we're battling. Definitely improved the face-offs in the second quarter, and that was huge for us.
What's your take on the pace of the game?
It's definitely, it feels like a Big Ten game, you know, kind of long possessions. Both teams play good defense, so you'd love to score in the first 5 seconds, but when you play good defense, it's just hard to get leverage. And when you do slide, they slide well. So you just got to keep working. If you get one quick, great, but usually it's going to be hard work.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.
A profile in patience. John Tillman has won 93% of the games where he's led at the half. 9-1 this season. Terps 5, Hoyas 4. A trip to championship weekend on the line.
Consumer Reports ranks car brands on more than 50 road tests, reliability surveys, owner satisfaction surveys, and safety ratings from IIHS. And for 2025, Consumer Reports' most reliable automotive brand is Subaru. It's no surprise they also named Subaru the best overall automotive brand. Safe, reliable, trusted, loved. Subaru.
This is my coffee shop. And that's me in my custom shirt from Custom Ink. This week, we moved into a new, bigger space and brought on another employee. To celebrate, I ordered new branded gear for the whole team. Everything was so easy to make with Custom Ink's Design Lab. I just chose my products, added our logo, and placed my order. Our new gear really helps us look and feel like a team. Bring your own team together with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
The UFL is the spring football league.
Serving exactly what you want. More of what you love.
The atmosphere.
There's a buzz right now in this building.
The intensity. Must see for every football fan.
The UFL knows what gets the people going.
Everything you could ever want in spring football. This is the UFL.
The United Football League. All season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
Formula One returns. It's lights out and away we go.
All season long on ESPN, the exclusive home.
There's nothing better than May lacrosse. Whether you're a little kid that's getting hooked on the sport, you're a player, or for us as ESPN analysts, it's the pinnacle of the game. You and I were kind of discussing best performances of all time in championship weekend. And there's so many unbelievable individual efforts by men and women in the sport of lacrosse, but there is one that really stuck out in my mind. It's not too long ago, 2016, Chris Cloutier for the University of North Carolina. Here he is. He's only a sophomore at the time. They're playing Loyola in the national semifinals. He has 9 goals. The Canadian left-handed, big dude who just loves to eat checks at goal line extended, dominated that semifinal performance like I haven't seen before. I mean, 9 goals he couldn't miss, but he was also so physical. He was a man amongst boys. And then 2 days later, Carolina's playing in the national championship game against Maryland. The stakes were so high for Joe Bresci and that program. They finally got back to championship weekend for the first time since 1993. Cloutier delivers again. They beat Maryland by 1 goal in overtime. Who do you think scores the winner? It's Chris Cloutier. He had 5 that day, including the game winner in overtime. So take a bow, Chris Cloutier.
I will never forget that game winner. That was epic. And I will also never forget that they won that title as an unseeded team in that NCAA tournament. What a run that was. But for me, I'm going 2009 Northwestern Wildcats. Katrina Dowd, a name that lacrosse fans know so well. Then that tournament run, in the semifinal game, they were playing Penn. They were down in the first overtime. 2 seconds on the clock. Katrina Dowd picks up a ground ball. A no-look, backhanded, diving effort to score. To send it to double overtime, they end up winning it. She had 4 goals on that game. In the national title game, they beat UNC 21-7. Absolutely beat the brakes off of them to go on and win the national title. Katrina Dowd set an all-time record for NCAA goals scored in a tournament run with 22. It felt like in that moment, in that tournament run, she changed the game of women's lacrosse for the rest of time. The way that she played, the style, the stick work, the creativity, she was all over the field in every single matchup they had. Her winning spoke for itself, but it was the way that she played that inspired thousands.
Unreal. Katrina Dowd is from my hometown, Yorktown, New York, so I used to watch her play and be amazed at what she could do. I think she had a similar impact as Mike Powell had in the men's game. Everyone just would go to YouTube and couldn't wait to see what Powell or Katrina Dowd did.
Performances that will last forever.
So what are you working on?
Something for the Garcias. Right there's great.
Love you, honey.
Thanks, Mom.
We've got 24 hours to get all of this under control.
Then you're gonna need these today.
Oh, we can deliver that.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow. Get delivery at the speed you need only at the Home Depot.
Every dream for your future starts with a plan. But at Corbridge Financial, we know it takes more. It takes action, like connecting with a financial professional to help guide you. Choosing retirement solutions so you can live the life you've worked for. And life insurance to protect the ones you love. Great things happen
this game who know each other well, both familiar not with just their own programs, but with the others, and this first half felt like that. Not a lot of secrets, a lot of jabs being thrown, feeling each other out to see who's going to have the wrinkle, and I'm not really sure, Quint, there was some major wrinkle in this first half. It kind of went according to script.
No, both teams kind of know their identity at this stage of the season. Both teams are defensive based, and when Georgetown started this game shooting 0 for 6, didn't score in the first 17 minutes, that didn't set a great tone for them, but they bounced back, I thought, in the second quarter.
Yeah, 5-4, Maryland with the lead. The Terps got a couple of goals early, unsettled situations. You brought up the point, Quint. They pick their spots really well when to run.
They can run. They will run if they give you the opportunity. Spanos off the broken Georgetown clear, up to Kelly. He doesn't miss from close range. And then the run out, remember, they're man down in this situation, but they continue to run from end to end, and it's Holmes kind of trailing. That was a little bit of a trailer break with a gorgeous stick side bouncer to the upper corner.
Georgetown scoreless in the opening 15 minutes. Got going in the second.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Maryland shifted Peter Lake to the Fulton-Bayman matchup. Here he is isolating against the short stick. The double team is just late. That's a communication breakdown on the defensive side. And Aiden Carroll's done his best work kind of starting off ball. That's given Will Schaller, 27 in white, some issues. Schaller's covered him well, but when Carroll's been the off-ball guy, Maryland has twice in that second quarter struggled to find 12, the righty shooter.
Look at the first half stats. 10 turnovers for Georgetown. That is somewhat concerning in a low possession game.
And 14 shots is concerning. Yesterday we saw Cornell take 50 shots. So you just see the differences in the way these teams approach this game of lacrosse. It's like watching football, no huddle spread offense versus old school 2 tight ends and a fullback. We
12 personnel. Yeah, this isn't going to be Syracuse-Princeton. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Which is fine, but it is what it is.
Maryland wins the opening faceoff of the third quarter. Jonah Carrier, who has been the lead guy at the faceoff X down the stretch for the Terps.
And John Tillman alluded to that when he was talking to Dana at the end of that second quarter, saying, this feels like a Big Ten game. Yes, it does.
Possessions matter. Ball security matters. Keegan, the sweep. Back to Ford, who's got a goal on the doorstep. Whittier, perfectly executed on the merry-go-round.
The stick work is so precise. I was talking to Mike Phipps, their offensive coordinator, at practice yesterday when I'm looking at their sticks lined up on the sideline. All the pockets look the same, 2 shooting strings and mesh. I kind of run the wheel there, and it's Whittier, the lefty. As I said earlier, 4 of the starters on this top unit are left-handers, and Maryland's shooting from mid-range is excellent. They fundamentally high release to a low location. They shoot the pipes. Really impressive execution.
And if you're Georgetown, Quinn, they spent a lot of that first half ball watching, and that was a point of emphasis coming out of halftime when I spoke with Coach Warren. He said it's the fundamentals. Our approaches were sliding too much. We're giving Maryland too many opportunities. And then offensively, when they do get the ball, there needs to be a sense of urgency, but controlled urgency. He wants to go deeper into the shot clock.
Can you get out and play them and force Maryland to take shots on the run off the dodge as opposed to shots off of ball movement where their feet are set? So you force the Dodger to his weak hand and trust your goalie, Anderson Moore, to make that stop.
Maryland applying pressure. Georgetown has to get it over before that shot clock hits 60. Boy, that was close. Anderson Moore, the goalie. Now he's going to run back. Georgetown gets its personnel on. First offensive possession in the second half.
Moore might be the best clearing goalie in the country, Anish. He's a next-level athlete. He can really run.
Are you saying he's an SEC athlete?
He reminds me of Jimmy Beardmore, the late, great Maryland goalie from the mid-'80s. His ability to kick around balls, and twice last week against Duke, winning runouts to the end line. That matters. Those are possessions.
He's an Alabama kid. Here comes Aiden Carroll. Sweeping across. Over to Ray, draws the double. Carroll thought about the step down. Instead, plays it back to X. Bayman looking to get top side. Fires.
Could be McNaney.
Missed the cage. McNaney gets the backup. I love what John Tillman said about Logan McNaney. 70 career starts now. He gives the entire team confidence. Even if the team gets off to a tough start, McNaney never gets flustered.
Hope you saw our story for Game On. Spent the day with Logan and Coach Tillman and Eric Spanos down in College Park. Tillman and McNaney, both from Corning. Logan at first thought College Park was too big, but on his recruiting trip, Tillman and Logan walked campus, came to an agreement, and because of the brotherhood, Logan said he chose to be a Terp.
He was pivotal on that 2022 team. With all the talent, it was Logan McNaney who was the most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament.
He just doesn't.
More, the denial.
Doesn't seem to rattle. You know what I like and respect about him is even in his great moments, he's the same keel. Like the game he played this year in Atlanta against Notre Dame, he stole the show. The kick save with 20 seconds to go in the game. In all these big games, at these big moments, he's never pointing to himself. He's never cheering. He's just like flatliner.
I remember what his mom, Kim, told me championship weekend 2021. She said, you and Kark are always talking about how goalies are crazy. And I said, well, you have to forgive us. You happen to be our point of reference. She said, my son is not crazy. He's normal.
I don't know about that. He's an applied economics major. Dealing with a lot of injuries last year. Had the thumb injury before the championship game.
Turnover by Georgetown.
But this part of his game right here with the ball in his stick around the crease, it gives his game layers. He's not just a stopper. He's a really smart guy, helping Jesse Bernhardt, defensive coordinator, design their slide packages. What shots does he want to see or not see on a particular day? Who does he fear? Who does he feel comfortable saving? And then the clearing and ground ball game.
Jordy Holmes, a D-midi, 34 and white. He's got a goal today.
Last thing
Keegan.
for that story, Nish, last thing, our producer Frank Saraceno went to the Maryland Hopkins game with the camera crew. They said it was such a struggle to keep up with the ball. They had no idea how fast the ball actually goes. And he said to me, those goalies are a little nuts.
Man, you're not going to get a counter argument from me after working with you all these years. Bryce Ford looking to slip past Acton. Keegan backs up.
He gets to the middle. That's critical now. Your shooting percentage goes through the roof from that middle of the field. With the goals, the full 6x6.
Whittier had the last tally for the Terps. Shot clock at 6. Flag down. So Maryland will get a free possession here and an extra man opportunity. That's a tough one for Georgetown late in the shot clock. Quentin, is that one where you got to have awareness knowing how much time is left?
Yes. Matt Palin makes the call. Maryland is so stubborn. A little change of speed, a little stutter step right there, and the defender runs up your back.
Joe Ranizin from Portland, Oregon in the box. Jesuit High School, same high school that produced Sam Handley, the former Penn standout. Ford to Kelly, one more, Urza,
nice.
More. Comes up with the save.
Body stop. John Tillman, who designs the Maryland extra man play as head coach, yesterday spending time with this unit. They got the look they wanted.
There's Moore again, showing off that athleticism.
And Ishu covered baseball yesterday, the Yankees and Mets. I look at the goalie position that way as a pitcher. Field your position. Don't just be a pitcher, field your position. And back in the day before the DH, like, can you get a hit every now and then to help the team? That a goalie who can clear is fielding his position.
Shot on the run, missed the cage.
Pegged the cameraman's camera.
Expensive camera. Bayman goes to work on Canfield. Using the pick, Bayman slams on the brakes. Hangman, McNaney pressing out. Retreating toward the cage. Krogan, who had a hat trick in round 1 against Duke, spins away. Georgetown knocking off Duke on the road in round 1. Maryland, a workmanlike win against Air Force. McNaney comes up with the save. Carroll on the rebound, fresh 60.
Offside low save by McNaney, spectacular. Fast feet, fast hands.
Hoyas still looking for their first goal of the second half. 7 minutes into this third quarter.
Fresh legs now. Make a midfield sub.
Right, give it up again. McNaney's there.
It's good coverage inside by Jack McDonald, their LSM, a PLL draft pick, number 16. I think he's heading to the Maryland Whipsnakes. Good player. Awesome off the ground and in transition.
Going to the Chaos, second round pick. Here is Keegan. Now Ford. Whittier against Ranizin. Angles down the alley. Eyes up. Now Spanos, Maryland's top point scorer, against the Big East Defensive Player of the Year, Banks.
Not doing many pick and rolls here. You don't see two-man games.
Shot clock inside of 25. Ford goes behind the cage. Keegan now against the shorty. Here's the slide. Shot clock winding down. Loose ball. Picked up by the Hoyas and Michael Hawes.
Nice defense. Really solid everywhere. On ball, off ball. Just surprised that Maryland thinks that they can beat this defense without the help of some picks to change matchups or to create leverage. Again, Maryland does not have an alpha on offense. It's not a bad thing, but they just don't have like a guy who can automatically draw a double team.
What's the last team that won a national championship without that guy?
That's a tough question on the spot, Anish. I mean, Maryland 2022 played team lacrosse, but they had like 4 alphas.
And remember, Wisnauskas was the Tuarton Award winner. Here comes Carroll streaking in from GLE. Defended by Schaller. Matchup you pay to see.
Carolina have a true alpha on that team.
Pontrello became that guy in 2016.
X was kind of the difference for them that year.
And they had Cloutier, who had a big NCAA tournament. On the rollback, McNaney again. Hold on, flag down.
After the shot.
The Maryland contingent expresses its displeasure.
It's been a consistent call today. When guys have come in a beat late, the officials have thrown the flag. Just look at McNaney.
Boys on white 27, contact to the head. We're going to take a look. White 27, white 27.
Will Schaller, contact to the head. They're going to take a look. Watch him. He is a physical player. He lives on the line. Big lefty from the Hill School in PA.
So now, based on the severity of this, they'll assess what kind of penalty it can be. It may just be unnecessary roughness, but if they feel it's indirect contact to the head and neck area, that's a 1 minute non-releasable. Direct contact, 2 minutes. Flagrant can be 3.
See what each angle brings. Schaller, left side of your screen. I don't think it'll be upgraded.
Great crowd that we've alluded to a few times. 17,721 in attendance. That is an all-time quarterfinal record.
This place has incredible tailgating. Annapolis is one of the most underrated small cities in the country for tourism.
What do you think, Q, when you watch the replay?
I'm not upgrading this. I don't see anything there that leads me to believe that they should add any minutes. I give them 1 minute, no parole.
27, 1 minute indirect. Go ahead and deliver it.
But again, I played at a time where guys ran around with wooden sticks trying to annihilate each other.
27. Contact to the head, 1 minute, full time. 127.
I will say 1 minute.
Yeah, that's
full time.
That's exactly what I thought it should be.
It is an indirect hit to the head and neck area. And this is a chance for Georgetown to get back into the game. However, Maryland, one of the best man-down defenses in the country.
Yeah, Maryland's D.
And Georgetown has one of the worst man-up offenses in the country.
Hoyas had that 17-minute scoreless streak to start the game. 15th time Maryland's done that this season. This defense has held people to 10 goals or less in, 13 of 15 games this year?
Georgetown in the midst of another scoreless streak of about 15 minutes right now.
It's a 4-man rotation. They're sealing off on the crease.
Carroll from the outside gets it back.
Now they're in a 5-man rotation.
Ransom back to Carroll. On the skip, and there's a goal. Lucas Dudemain with his second. It comes on the extra man. It's 6-5. And there's still 29 seconds on the man up.
Look, the power of an outside shot, in hockey on the power play, if you've got those defenders who can let it rip from up top, this is the same in lacrosse. And whether it's Ben Furley from the midfield, who's got a great outside cannon, or Lucas Dudemain, you stretch the field, good things happen with the power play.
A large touchscreen keeps everyone happy. The Subaru Crosstrek. Dog tested, dog approved.
So what are you working on?
Something for the Garcias. Right there's great.
Love you, honey.
Thanks, Mom.
We've got 24 hours to get all of this under control.
Then you're gonna need these today.
Oh, we can deliver that.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow. Get delivery at the speed you need only at the Home Depot.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today. Every dream for your future starts with a plan. But at Corbridge Financial, we know it takes more. It takes action, like connecting with a financial professional to help guide you.
It's Monday, May 26th, the 1 Eastern on ESPN from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. For more info, go to NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Big face-off here for Georgetown, down 1 with the non-releasable extra man. Georgetown faces off 3 versus 2.
Not all face-offs are created equal. You got a free winger coming in.
Oh, life isn't fair, Quint.
Free winger coming in to the Georgetown face-off man's left side. Ross Prince is a big face-off for this freshman. And he moved early. That's why he's a freshman, right?
Tough break.
So Maryland's going to be super conservative with the ball here.
They got about 20-plus seconds here to kill off.
Terps don't beat themselves.
No.
You know? They're not going to beat themselves.
That's been the hallmark of this team.
In any facet. So it's going to take your A performance to beat them. You're not beating Maryland with a B performance.
Yeah,
you can get a lead and take them out of their game a little, like Michigan and Rutgers did this season.
And Ohio State jumped on Maryland early.
Yes.
If you get a lead on Maryland,
force them to score, take them out of their control, their possession-based game.
We've seen it in the past. John Tillman has been so good at playing to his team's strengths.
The structure, the discipline is unbelievable.
When he's at horses, he runs. Spanos.
It reminds me of Bill Tierney's teams at Princeton. Just structurally so sound.
Even strength. Shot clock, though, is at 3. And again, for Maryland, you kill the man up. That's more important for them than the offensive possession.
And have we seen them take a bad shot today late in the shot clock that Anderson Moore catches and leads to a potential run out? No. They retreat and they're comfortable just living another day, right?
One of the great quarterfinal upsets of all time, authored by John Tillman back in 2011. His first season with Maryland. They faced a Syracuse team which, Quint, might be the most talented team never to make championship weekend. And that was the game that probably got the shot clock instituted in college lacrosse.
Thank God.
They held the ball, they held the ball, they held the ball. They played keep away and won, what was it, a 6-5 game?
Yeah, 6-5.
Grant Catalino, game winner in overtime. And that team had John Galloway and John Lade and
Joel White on that team?
Joel White, Jovan Miller, I believe. A lot of seniors who were freshmen and sophomores on the teams in 08 and 09 that won titles. Off the turnover, let's see if Maryland will push here.
No trailers. Spanos with the ball right now, 7 and White, super smart, really likable young man.
His move to attack last year fueled Maryland's late season surge.
He's dealt with a ton of injuries. He's one of the last of the 8th grade commits way back when he was kind of a social media sensation coming out of PA.
Ball stuck in Erx's cross, gets it to Spanos, fires. And it comes to Georgetown. Less than 90 seconds to go in what's been a sleepy third period. Both teams have scored just one goal.
So Ohio State had great success isolating against the midfield, the short stick defenders in space. You've got to make those guys play man-to-man defense.
Remember, the Terps under John Tillman are 10-1 in the quarterfinals. Georgetown, as a program, has lost 10 consecutive quarterfinals. Hoyas reached a championship weekend once in 1999. That was it. Final 30 seconds of the half. Shot clock at 15 now. Carroll, right hand free, on the run, shoots. Good recovery there by Maryland. They got the slide in time. It altered the shot, and McNaney with an easy save. Now Maryland in the final 15. Spanos from goal line extended. Attacking Banks. Your sale, Ty Banks Big East Defensive Player of the Year, but we do have a flag. 3.9 on the clock.
Day, this is like a full-out farmer's market in downtown Annapolis by the harbor.
Matty Palin, by the way, taking it on the sideline. Mike's picking that up.
Let's go to 80.
Watch the check by Banks. Poke. Pop. Dislodge ball and stick. That is the definition of just an amazing poke check. Ty Banks, high All-American. He's only a sophomore, British Columbia, plays indoor in Coquitlam. He's a star.
Maryland with possession will begin the fourth quarter with the ball and the extra man. No face-off.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Today, I choose us how to screen us for colon cancer. I will not drink all that liquid. Give me Cologuard or give me...
We can do that for you.
What, no battle?
Nope. Just a prescription.
Victory!
Cologuard is an effective and non-invasive colon cancer screening test. False positive and negative results may occur. Those at high risk should use colonoscopy. Skip the drama. Ask your provider or request Cologuard online.
The truth about DIY is you never really do it all by yourself.
Because this setup took 2 videos and a quick demo.
You can change your color here.
And all of this started here, detoured here, and ended
down here.
And this pizza wasn't delivery. This was.
I wonder if they do have it.
We do. So whenever you start a project,
don't worry.
You're not alone.
We can do this together.
So what are you working on?
A large touchscreen keeps everyone happy. The Subaru Crosstrek proved.
To 2005 Maryland, Georgetown, quarterfinals in Princeton. 93 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Bill McClone for Maryland scores on the empty net. Hang on. Dave Urich calls for a stick check. A young Hans Wittelsberger says illegal stick. Penalty on Maryland, ensuing Georgetown man up. Peter Cannon ties the game at 8. We would go to OT. Could Georgetown get to championship weekend? No, you know how it ends. Andrew Schwartzman in OT. Game winner for the Terps, who punched their ticket to the national semifinals.
Pikesville's finest. That's Jesse Schwartzman's brother. You saw 17 for Georgetown in that. That's Brody Merrill.
That was his last collegiate game.
You also saw, I think Joe Walters wore 1 for Maryland that year. Dave Cottle, Terp head coach at the time.
Extra man opportunity for Maryland to begin the fourth. No face-off. Terps had possession when the third quarter ended. Here's Ford. Thought about the outside shot. Spano swings it, goal line extended, gets it back. Back to even strength. Urza missed the cage. We haven't seen many shots on target today by both teams. We got a timeout.
Georgetown calls timeout.
Wow. Big timeout for Kevin Warren. A lot of time left in this fourth quarter. Maryland with a 1-goal lead.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them,
It's never been easier to get the content you want all in one place. With live broadcasts of multiple championships across all divisions, with exclusive access and highlights for every single championship. Stay in the game all season long with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
Versace Eros energy for men.
The truth about DIY is you never really do it all by yourself.
Because this setup took 2 videos and a quick demo.
You can change your color here. And all of this started here, detoured here, and ended
down here.
And this pizza wasn't delivery. This was.
I wonder if they do have it.
We do. So whenever you start a project,
Don't worry,
You're not alone.
we can do this together.
So what are you working on?
A large touchscreen.
To Annapolis, 14:29 left in the fourth quarter. Sense of urgency from Georgetown's head coach, Kevin Warren, on taking that timeout. He wanted to adjust some personnel, keep Maryland above goal line extended. Robert Plath will be on the field defensively for Georgetown.
You know, what happens is you put your man down unit in, and sometimes there's a sub or two personnel-wise. Penalties released, and now you're 6-on-6. But maybe that's not the optimal situation personnel-wise. You look up at the scoreboard, there's still 14 minutes to go, and you're saying, like, so what? Well, if Maryland scores to go up 7-5, I get the feeling that Kevin's like, the way we're playing offense, I'm not sure we can get to 8 to win this game. Like, the urgency, next goal wins? Are you kidding me? Maybe?
A 2-goal lead in this game will feel a lot different than a 2-goal lead did in Syracuse-Princeton.
Yes, exactly.
Ford will initiate up top. Now Schultz, the freshman, working on the short stick.
Nice defense.
Did he step in the crease? No. Lost the ball. Out of bounds. Georgetown ball.
That was a nice cross-check hold. Ranizan, you mentioned Portland, Oregon, that Oregon pipeline.
The Oregon Trail.
Ajax Zapatello, former Terp from that same area of the country.
Tucker Dordovic, former Hoya.
Handley, Colin Squires, I think, is from that area as well.
You got Alex Slusher, Ross Scott.
Bunch of pros. I'd love the Premier Lacrosse League to go to Portland, Oregon. It's one of my favorite parts of the country.
It started with the great Peter Baum, Tewaaraton Award winner at Colgate back in 2012. I'll tell you what, if Georgetown is able to score a goal here with that timeout by Kevin Warren, he looks like a genius. Maryland's gone scoreless in more than 16 minutes. Ray spins it. Carroll rolls back, shoots high. Warriors have the backup. 49 in blue is an explosive player, a freshman, Kevin Miller.
He can run. They haven't used him as much as you'd think.
Ray off the giddy up. Stamos falls down. Ray's shot was offline and McNaney snared it. That wasn't going to hit the cage anyway.
I like Miller. I like seeing Aiden Carroll used off ball and him setting some picks and putting Will Schaller in some decision-making areas. I think notable is that Peter Lake has come off the bench for Maryland and done a great job covering Fulton Bayman.
Yeah, Lake, freshman, all Big Ten freshman team. Number 3 defenseman in his class, according to Inside Lacrosse's rankings. No chance here. Terps will wait for the best shot. Be the best. Ford saved by Moore using the body. And now Georgetown gallops across midfield. Here comes Banks. Does he pull? Tough pass leads to a turnover. They were trying to go long stick to long stick. Whittier quickly up ahead. Maryland's got a trailer. Kelly, one more to the wing. Shot. Too high. Erksa now. Former Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Erksa's had at least 2 points in every game this season. Vipers back to X, playing hangman. Moore out of the cage. Erksa can't get topside, fakes the pass. Trying to roll back inside, Foley in his grill. Erksa scores anyway.
Put him in a headlock. Held him. Held him tight, but Erksa would have none of it. He finishes this with a twister to the near post. Defender's too high. You got to be down on the hips. He's too high right there. He's around his neck. Penalty drawn. Erksa finishes it. Just a miracle finish. This angle will show you how skillful this is. It's a twister to the near post. Really tough for the goalie to track that because the distance between shooter and goaltender is so tight, and it comes out of there awkward.
That's an and one. Erksa today, 2 goals and an assist. And in this game right now, a 2-goal advantage feels massive.
Last year, towards the end of the season, Erksa was banged up. He asked John Tillman to be moved to midfield.
Made all the difference.
Simultaneously, Eric Spanos got hurt in a warm-ups before a playoff game, had a torn hamstring. They moved him inside, and teams were polling both of those guys, and at the time, they were being used as decoys. This is all the way up to last year's national championship game. Right. The stuff you find out after the fact.
Here's Krogan, first-round hat trick. A lot of congestion inside.
Georgetown going to the invert.
Carroll. Bayman off the fake, on the run. There is McNaney. The brick wall from the glass town.
He is so relaxed.
8 saves. A veteran now of 14 postseason games. When he has played a full season, Quint, Maryland has played on Memorial Day.
Words he used to describe his game: calm, confident, patient, limited movement, and positive body language always.
A lot of run for this midfield unit. Keegan, Ford, and Whittier. Ford, bouncer, Moore turns it away. Rebound save. Big ground ball picked up by Georgetown. Anderson Moore standing tall.
That was A.J. Larkin, who's continued to play. They're kind of in their Cinco package. And keeping Larkin on the field, 26 in white. That's a huge save to keep this game within reach.
Moore, 9 out of 16. Offensively, though, Georgetown has disappeared. They've missed 11 of its last 12 shots. Caesar plays it to Goldberg. Carroll now, he's got 2 goals. Schaller on him, Dudemain's got 2. Trying to feed inside, does it count? It does. Hoya's back to within 1. Cade Goldberg, his first of the game.
Invert. Carroll jams this ball across the top, and you think Dudemain's going to let it rip. And somehow finds Goldberg, who's pretty well covered. Dudemain's had a career game today. This is a guy who was out most of the season with a hamstring injury, had 4 goals in the Big East semifinal game, and he's got multiple points today.
2 goals, 2 assists. Georgetown within 1. Here comes Maryland. 51 in white, McDonald, PLL draft pick.
Maryland under John Tillman, very comfortable in these 1-goal games, right?
Well, when they hold teams to 10 in the Tillman era, they're 132-12. Aiken missed the cage.
So when they hold teams below 10, you said?
Below 10.
132-12?
Yeah, it's about a 92% winning clip. There's a man down for Georgetown. Injured player for Georgetown behind the net. Maryland takes advantage.
This is really, really unfortunate.
And now Erks is down.
The Georgetown player's down behind the net. And because he's not in danger, he's not in the action, the referee's determined to let the play go on. He can't be injured back there. You see him behind the net.
That's Ranazin.
Ranazin right there. And so Ranazan's out. Now Georgetown's playing shorthanded in front of the net. And this is a situation sometimes defensively you don't even know. Like, why are we all of a sudden playing with 5 guys? What happened? The referees don't blow the whistle. And that's their judgment call, whether the player who's injured is in danger. They let it play on, and that benefits Maryland.
Yeah, usually if it's behind the play, you're allowed to play on. When the injury is in front of the play, normally you get the whistle blown and play gets stopped.
Yeah, and if I were Kevin Warren, what I would be saying is the player is down, immobile behind the net. He may not be an injury threat or getting
Maryland is attacking, right? So he's still in front of the play.
He also could get hit by a shot. And if he's hurt, can you imagine that? If he's down on the ground hurt and can't move and someone misses the net and hits him with the shot,
right,
he's certainly in jeopardy of getting further injured. So I'm in favor of blowing the whistle. The problem there is that you get guys fake injuries.
Right. And then if you're the Maryland side, right, you're saying, well, wait a minute, that's a scoring opportunity there.
And so anytime things are going off the rails defensively, someone drops.
Right.
Like you see in college football.
Right.
And they had to change the rule. So in that case, I thought the referees handled it the right way.
Errant pass. Maryland has it. George Stamos. Spanos. Oh, that was a look. Jordy Holmes added the backup. He'll run off now. And Kelly jogs toward the end line. 7:19 to go.
Stamos, no timeout from John Tillman. I thought he was going to call it. But remember, wasn't it Stamos who scored the game winner against Syracuse in the Dome
last year?
Last year, yeah.
Off a crazy scramble play.
Off a broken clear, yeah.
No relation to John, the actor. Spanos hesitates, had the right hand free, lays it back to Whittier. Keegan. Whittier. That first midfield has gotten a ton of run for Maryland.
Maryland, so many of those dodges look like they're just drawing doubles and not actually going to the goal.
Keegan from the outside.
It's a good looking step down. When Georgetown does double on the corner, they're vulnerable there. Kevin Warren can't like that.
And for the Terps, we saw this late in the season, get a whole lot of run from their second midfield. Keegan had trouble with the pass. Able to recover. Moore springs out of the cage. Loose ball. Vacuumed by Banks. Hoyas have not had many opportunities on a run out. Maryland is so good getting back in transition.
You mentioned that lack of a second midfield. That's been yearly for Maryland under John Tillman, and that's one of the reasons they're 2-6 on Memorial Day weekend. Excuse me, on Memorial Day Monday.
Matty Palem, did you see that? Went off the field. I wonder if he's got a cramp. Caesar. That'll reset the shot clock. 5:52 to go. 8-6 game. Carroll against Schaller. Goldberg trying to set the pick. Schaller stays with Carroll. McNaney saves the shot by Goldberg. 5.5 to play. Gourneau, Cyclones across midfield. Dana?
Well, one of our favorite officials, Matty Paley, pulled a hamstring in the first half, and so he's sitting down resting his right hamstring. I told him it's got a long summer with the PLO. We gotta get you in tip-top shape.
Can't have Matty Palem on the IL.
He took himself out of the game, though, so he's going to sit for the remainder.
I'm sure he may not hear the end of that.
I get a kick out of the PLL social media team taking pictures of guys like arriving at games, and then Matty gets there and no one pays attention. He's a bigger star than most of the players.
He is worth the price of admission.
He really is. He's more recognizable. He's more of a part of the show. Like there's a lot of players who some fans don't know. Everybody knows Matt Palem.
Front and center. Here's Whittier. He got a shot on the head by Hawes. That's a turnover. 4:25 to go.
It's still, you're there. You're within reach.
Okay, but you're asking now Georgetown to score 2 goals here in the last 4.5 minutes. They have 2 goals this entire second half.
Here we go.
There's not going to be a lot of possessions the way this game is going. Anderson Moore finally gives it up. So now he's got to get back. Georgetown has to sub.
And they only have 1 timeout, so they're not going to burn a timeout.
Under 4 minutes.
Who can win a matchup for Georgetown? Krogan's got a shorty. I like that matchup. 24 in blue.
Bayman. Carroll has been the star of the last 2 games and all season. Feeding inside, McNaney foils. And now Logan McNaney sprinting out of the cage. He scored goals in his career, had one in 2022 against Ohio State, but now heads back toward his own net. Maryland won't risk it. They'll play the clock with a 2-goal lead.
They can taste it now. Fans on their feet, understanding the importance of stops. 4th quarter stops.
This has been such a vintage postseason coaching job and game plan by John Tillman, hasn't it?
It's
play to your strengths, don't make mistakes.
This is a stencil.
There's Kim McNaney, Logan's mom. Stovall defended by Erb. So getting some fresher midfielders in there. Schultz, Aiken calling for it. He was open. Shot clock at 20. Maryland may just take this down and trust its defense. Would not surprise me if they took a shot clock violation. Aiken goes behind. Dumps it back to X. Kelly scores, and that feels like a dagger. It's a tall order for Georgetown now. Maryland in this quarterfinal round under John Tillman has been inevitable.
This team staying true to their identity, patience, a efficient shooting when it matters, and Anderson Moore, Georgetown goalie, has played an A-plus game, but Kelly, again, that level change. High release, low location. Kim McNaney loves it. She's got to get on her phone right now and get a hotel up in Foxborough or Boston, because Maryland's headed back to championship weekend.
Big face-off win. Acting off the ground. Ross Prince did his job. Georgetown now feeling the urgency, getting sloppy. Turnover. The Terps will squeeze this. They're going to run this clock down.
Georgetown's going to have to take some chances now defensively.
Terps almost lost it. Gorno gets it to Stamos. Moore still in the cage. Syracuse awaiting the winner. Moore still in the cage. Now they turn it over. Georgetown the other way. Here's Carroll. Into the box. Carroll fires. McNaney gets there. And Maryland, if they hold on to the ball, they can almost run this clock out. Georgetown faced with an impossible task, but here's Carroll. Picks off the pass. Chased by Burles. Carroll shoots, missed. The back up to the Terps. 1:12 to go. Do the math, 72 seconds.
John Tillman's halfway on the field.
He wants a timeout. He wants a timeout.
He's in front of the Georgetown bench.
Are they going to give the ball to Georgetown here, Quinn? It's going to be Georgetown ball. Now that looked to be a shot by Georgetown with Maryland having the backup. We'll get another look here in a second. Here it is again. Carroll. That's not it. So McNaney's got it. That was the save.
Coach Tillman coming 20 yards onto the field. John, a former goalie who moved to the LSM position in college.
All right, here it is again. So Carroll's shot.
So that's a shot.
And now it's closest to the ball where and when it goes out. Is that not Maryland? Is that not Bryce Ford? They
I
point
thought
the other way.
24.
Unless they're going to say Fulton Bayman?
No, you see that official right there is making the call that it's coming upfield, that it's Maryland ball. Unless he got overruled by the other official.
Right.
Who's off screen to the left.
Yeah, the initial signal is Maryland ball.
Or is he pointing to Bayman to say it's Georgetown ball?
I think that's what had everybody confused, including John Tillman. So, a lifeline for Georgetown, but they need 3 goals in 1:12.
Yeah, you're running a set piece right here. You're running a short time play. Their offensive coordinator, John Hogan, you got 2 or 3 of these in your back pocket each week.
Here we go. With the sun baking, Navy Marine Corps Stadium. Krogan. Terps defense has been so good. That pass hits the ground. Loose ball push on the Hoyas. Less than a minute to go. Maryland ball. Anderson Moore out of the cage. Georgetown into its 10-man ride. Gorno puts one on cage. It's a shot. Maryland with the backup. Courtesy Bryce Ford. Now it's about keep away, and John Tillman still has that one timeout if he needs it. 40 seconds. Syracuse awaiting the winner. Death taxes and Maryland in the quarters, Quint, I tell you. 15 seconds. Whittier has it. The Terps head to Foxborough and championship weekend. It has become an all too familiar destination in the John Tillman era.